When you leave this hall for the last time, when you go out into the world and become men, how is it that you want to be remembered? Captain Jack Sparrow once said, "Me, I'm dishonest, but a dishonest man you can always trust to be dishonest. Honestly, it's the honest ones you need to look out for." Well, Captain Jack was right. Someone without honesty is incredibly predictable. A dishonest man can always be trusted to blame someone else when things go wrong, to refuse any apology when someone's upset, to take that extra dessert when the lady on duty at the boarding hostel isn't watching. But ultimately, the one thing that is guaranteed of a dishonest man is that he will not be remembered. Today, I'm here to talk about honesty, which is the first part of our school motto. As children, we're taught that honesty is the best policy, and I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. But what they failed to teach us in primary school is that honesty and choosing to be an honest man is one of the most difficult things that you can do in your life. Being honest may cause you to miss out on a promotion. Being honest may cause you to lose friends. Being honest may even stop you from entering into certain relationships. But at the end of the day, an honest man goes home and is happy with the choices that he's made. Here is a different take on a great story that some of you may have heard about honesty. A successful businessman was growing old and knew it was time to choose a successor. Instead of choosing one of his directors or his children, he decided to do something different. He called all of the young executives in his company together. He said, "It's time for me to step down and choose the next CEO. I've decided to choose one of you." The young executives were shocked, but then the boss continued, "I'm going to give each one of you a seed, a very special seed. I want you to plant the seed, to water it, and to come back here in 1 year from today and show me what you've grown from the seed that I've given you. I will then judge the plants that you bring me, and the one I choose will be the next CEO." One man named Robert was there that day, and he, like the others, received a seed. He went home excitedly and told his wife. She helped him get a pot, soil, and compost, and he planted the seed. Every day he would water it and watch to see if it had grown. After about 3 weeks, some of the other executives began to talk about their seeds and the plants that were beginning to grow. Robert kept checking his seed, but nothing ever grew. 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks went by, but still nothing. By now, others were talking about their plants, but Robert didn't have a plant, and he felt like a failure. 6 months went by, and still nothing grew in Robert's pot. He knew, deep down, that he had killed his seed. Everyone else had trees and plants, but he had nothing. Robert didn't say anything to his colleagues. He just kept watering and fertilising the soil, but he was desperate for a seed to grow. A year finally went by, and all of the young executives of the company brought their plants to the CEO for inspection. Robert told his wife that he wasn't going to take the empty pot, but she asked him to be honest about what had happened. Robert felt sick to his stomach. It was going to be the most embarrassing moment of his life, but he knew that his wife was right, so he took the empty pot to the boardroom. When Robert arrived, he was amazed at the variety of plants grown by the other executives. They were beautiful, in all shapes and all sizes. Robert put his empty pot on the floor, and many of his colleagues laughed at him, while a few felt sorry for him. When the CEO arrived, he surveyed the room and greeted all the young executives. Robert just tried to hide in the back. "My, what great plants, trees, and flowers you've all grown," said the CEO. "Today, one of you will be appointed the next CEO." All of a sudden, the CEO spotted Robert at the back of the room with his empty pot. He ordered the financial director to bring him to the front. Robert was terrified. He thought, the CEO knows I'm a failure. Maybe he's going to have me fired. When Robert got to the front, the CEO asked him what had happened with his seed, and Robert told him the story. The CEO asked everyone to sit down except for Robert, and then turn around and announce to the young executives, "Behold your next Chief Executive Officer. His name is Robert Halton." Robert couldn't believe it. A year later, and he couldn't even grow a seed. How could he be the next CEO? The others said. Then the current CEO stood up and began to speak. 1 year ago today, I gave everyone in this room a seed. I told you to take the seed, to plant it, to water it, and to bring it back to me today. But I gave you all boiled seeds. They were dead. It was not possible for them to grow at all. All of you, except for Robert, have brought me trees and plants and flowers. When you found that the seed would not grow, you substituted another seed for the one that I gave you. Robert was the only one with the courage and the honesty to bring me a pot with my seed in it. Congratulations, Robert, our new CEO. This story is rich with life lessons, but today I want you to take away this: that planting honesty will reap rewards, and nourishing your integrity will enhance your life. But making the decision to be honest is not easy. In this story, Robert was seen as a failure to his peers. He was terrified, embarrassed, and felt like he couldn't succeed. To toil with such ideas and to come out the other side to make an honest decision is a feat that we should all aspire to. Too often men fall short of greatness by following the crowd. Doing what is seen to be normal and caving to peer pressure is the biggest barrier to achieving success. Have the strength to say no when everyone else is doing the wrong thing. Have the courage to make the honest decision, even if it means accepting blame and the punishment that follows. Dr. Seuss once said, "Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind." The key to greatness is nothing incredible. It's not making a life-changing decision or choosing to do something drastic. The key to greatness stems from integrity and the man who chooses to be honest with himself. When you've stuffed up, admit that it was your fault, then look to move forward and progress. When you've done something to upset someone, be a man and apologise for your wrongdoing. Be honest with yourself and be prepared to make the hard choices. Honesty isn't easy, but at the end of every day, you'll be able to look in the mirror and see a man of integrity, someone who you respect and someone that others will remember. I want to finish today on a quote from Margaret Thatcher about negative and dishonest thoughts. Watch your thoughts, for they become words. Watch your words, for they become actions. Watch your actions, for they become habits. Watch your habits, for they become your character. And watch your character, for it defines your destiny. Thank you.
As always, each head boy brings their own flavour and character to those speeches. And as I said, it's an important part of our assembly life throughout a year.